Welcome, everyone. So nice to be here. I am honored to be with you. I was so honored when Reverend Jay asked me to speak to you. My talk today is titled The Joy of Love is Love. When there's love, there is no question. There's only the experience of deep, expansive joy. In this talk, I will reflect on the joy that love brings when it's fully embraced as a spiritual practice. I'll touch on the following UU principles: the inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equality, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregation. The phrase love is a slogan that emphasizes the idea that love is universal and should be accepted in all its forms, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, or identity of the people involved. It advocates for equality and acceptance of same-sex relationships and challenges discrimination against LGBTQ2 plus individuals. The phrase became especially prominent during the fight for marriage equality and is often used in LGBTQ2 plus rights activism to assert that love should not be limited or judged based on societal norm or prejudice. Love is Love carries not only political and social power, but spiritual truth. It reminds us that love, when freely given, received, and celebrated, transcends boundaries. It opens the doors to joy. Almost 20 years ago, same-sex marriage became legal across Canada. Around 2014, Love is Love had become a rally cry, uniting voices, hearts, and communities in the joyful affirmation that we are all more alike than different. Today, it's more than a phrase. It's a bridge between hearts, a relief for wounds, and a call to joyful living. Today, Love is Love is a common theme that builds a bridge of acceptance for the LGBTQ community to the world, paving the way to reduce hate crimes against many diverse sexual-oriented individuals. However, I believe the phrase holds something even deeper. Love is Love can be a sacred spiritual practice. It invites us inward to dissolve the blocks around our hearts, to love more wholly, to experience joy through radical acceptance of ourselves and others. How do we make Love is Love a spiritual practice? There is a common axiom that says one should know love before one can offer it one to another. But many of us did not learn how. We inherited broken definitions of love, confused by conditions, conditional affection, gender expectations, or silence around emotional truth. As author Bell Hooks writes in All About Love, to know love, we have to tell the truth to ourselves and to others. Creating a false self to mask fears and insecurity has become so common that many of us forgot who we are and what we feel under the pretense. Breaking through this detail is always the first step to uncovering our longing to be honest and clear. The wounded child inside many of us were silenced when we first spoke our truth. Our patriarchal world did not want us to claim our true feelings. We were taught to become something else to attract and please others. Real love requires truth, and telling the truth about who we are, especially for those in marginalized communities, takes courage. But in that truth, joy becomes possible. My journey towards self-love began early, though I didn't know it then. As a boy, I didn't think about love. I had food, my family, and friends to play with. My first conscious longing for love was the day I passed by a Gospel Hall church in Toronto and heard someone say, "Jesus loves you." I was 11. I walked in hoping to feel that love. As an adult, I searched spiritual texts for clues on how to actually practice love. I couldn't find the ABCs of how to love myself anywhere in these texts. Many religion and sacred texts tell us how important love is, but how do I do it? I wanted to know. Love your neighbor. Yes, but I don't really like them. They're messy and they're noisy. How do I love past what I see? How can I really know love so I can give it? How do I love even when it's hard? After one marriage, two children, and three long relationships, I am only now beginning to understand. Love is not passive. It's an action. When love becomes a living choice, when we practice it, it brings joy, not just romantic joy, but spiritual joy, the joy of being seen, accepted, and connected. Real spiritual love is an enigma that is difficult to express in words. There are countless ways it shows up in our lives if we know it to receive it. Love can be unique to each one of us, but we all know the feeling when we experience it, right? I wish I had gotten a description of love as a child. Wouldn't that be nice? The word love is usually so easily and many times watered down to superfluous chatter. One of the best definition I found was penned by M. Scott Peck in the book, The Road Less Traveled. Love is the willing to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. Love is as love does. Love is an act of will, namely both an intention and an action. Will also implies choice. We do not have to love, we choose to love. Real love is joy in action. So recently, I asked AI ChatGPT with curiosity for a definition. Here's what it gave me. Love is a deep, complex feeling of affection, care, and commitment that goes beyond mere attraction or desire. It encompasses empathy, selflessness, and a genuine wish for the well-being and happiness of another person. Love is often marked by a sense of connection, trust, and understanding, and it can grow and evolve over time. True love is both a feeling and a choice, a sustained dedication to nurture and support another person through both joyful and challenging times. Yes, yes, but how do I do it for myself? As an interfaith minister, I am often fortunate to stand in front of two people pledging their love in matrimony. The energy in those moments is pure joy, unfiltered, universal. I always hope that energy lasts between them because, like any practice, love requires commitment, exercise, and repetition. Everything in the universe is made of energy and vibrates at its own frequency. Love energy is one of the highest frequencies. It sustains, comfort, and heals all. Where there's love, there is joy. There is no question. Love energy brings us all together, fostering forgiveness as it breaks down blocks, inspires us to let go and connect us all in oneness. This energy sends a clear message. When we feel it, we know it. When love is present, words are a mere whisper of the heart, carrying the profound echoes of emotion that brighten connection and understanding. You know, we can intentionally bring the philosophy of love is love as a spiritual practice into our daily lives if we choose. In learning to practice love is love, I discovered three principles that brought joy into my life. First, we must practice radical acceptance of ourselves. For only when we see the truth of who we are can we begin to love ourselves without holding back. To love others fully, we must see ourselves clearly and still say yes. We must accept not just our best traits, but our shadows. True self-love is not ego, it's compassion. Only when we love ourselves without conditions can we truly affirm the dignity of others. Years ago, I had the joy of meeting Louise Hay, founder of Hay House Publishing. She taught me the mirror principle, which is our relationships with life reflects our relationship with ourselves. I took her 21-day mirror work challenge. Looking in the mirror and saying, I love you was harder than I ever expected. I cried. I resisted, but I kept going. And doing so, I began to fall in love with my soul. That is joy. Happiness, not happiness, not perfection, but deep, abiding spiritual joy. The recognition that we are love and we are worthy of love. I believe, like me, in you is an indwelling being that is perfect, whole, and can't be named. This is the soul domain, the true essence of who we all are that connects us all together. Can we love that soul essence as Elizabeth Barrett Browning writes in her poem? How do I love thee? How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and heights my soul can reach when feeling out of sight. For the end of being an ideal grace, I love thee to the level of everyday's most quiet need by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee with thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old grief and with my childhood faith. I love thee with a love I seem to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, the smiles, the tears of all my life. And if God choose, I shall love thee better after death. How the world would change if we loved like this. Second, joy grows in diversity. Nature supports unique diversity and unity in essence. All forms spring from the same nothingness, like the beginning of time when the mystery expanded and creating the diverse beings that make us up our universe. We're all one humanity expressed in diversity. When we welcome love in all forms, we dissolve barriers and make space for joy to enter. In my work in mental health, I've seen hearts change. I once witnessed a person with bias towards non-binary individual open up, moved by kindness and conversation to embrace a transgender woman. That moment was joy. Love revealed itself and someone's world expanded. When we meet differences with curiosity instead of judgment, we open the doors for joy to walk in. When we can drop judgment and engage curiosity, we can discover new ways to celebrate love in all its forms. And as we show support for love in diverse expressions, we model how to love for others to follow. And lastly, love is love saves lives. Practicing love is love can have life-saving impacts, particularly for LGBTQ2+ individuals and marginalized individuals who face discrimination, isolation, and mental health challenges. When we affirm and advocate for love, irrespective of gender or sexual orientation or race, we foster an inclusive environment that promotes mental well-being. There is no greater feeling than being accepted for who you truly are without judgment. This is no exaggeration. When people feel safe to be who they are, when they feel loved, they thrive. Joy is born from safety and acceptance. But when love is denied, the consequences can be tragic. A close friend of mine lost his son who died by suicide, unable to share his truth. Imagine how many lives might have been saved if we had embraced and modeled the joy of loving all people for who they are. Love is not just a slogan to me, it's a life-saving truth. It's a joyful resistance to fear, hatred, and erasure. It's a healing spiritual practice for our communities, our spirits, our children. In closing, love is love as a spiritual practice is an invitation to joy. It invites us to love without judgment, to celebrate the truth of ourselves and others, to unite in the sacred expression of what connects us all. When we live from this place, when we love deeply, boldly, and unconditionally, we open the door to a world transformed by joy. I leave you with these powerful words by Martin Luther King Jr. Power without love is reckless and abusive, and love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love. Thank you for listening. Now let us take a deep breath in silent reflection.